Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Produce Buzzers podcast. We are so happy you have joined us today, and I think you will be too after the show is over, because you will learn a lot about fresh fruits and vegetables, how to select and store them, how to prepare and cook them, and surprising facts about their history and origin. We hope it inspires you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, not only for your health, but also for your delight and pleasure as you explore their amazing world of taste and delicious flavors. Eating more of them will transform your life in so many positive ways. So settle back, relax, and get ready for another delicious adventure with the Produce Buzzers. Greetings and welcome to another delicious episode of the Produce Buzzers podcast. I'm Edwin Stepp, your host and executive editor of ProduceBuzz.com. I'm joined once again by Teresa Nolan, the founder and president of Produce Buzz, along with Rick Stepp, the contributing editor to Produce Buzz. Our lovely colleague, Cynthia Benedetto, hopes to join us a little later, but she's running a bit behind and has some other priorities. But hopefully she'll jump in a little bit. Anyway, today, Produce Buzzers podcast fans, we're turning our attention to a nut that has flown under the radar for far too long. I'm not talking about Rick. I'm talking about a real nut that has flown under the radar for too long, and one of the most unique and boldly flavored nuts in the world, the American black walnut. Unlike the mild English walnut most of us buy at the store, black walnuts grow wild, harvested not from manicured orchards, but from trees scattered across backyards, farms, and forests throughout the Midwest and the Appalachian states. They're one of the few truly wild harvested commercial foods in the United States, a tradition that brings together thousands of local gatherers each fall. With their rich, earthy flavor and crunchy texture, black walnuts have a personality all their own, celebrated by bakers, chefs, and food lovers looking for something real, rustic, and full of character. Joining us today to tell us all about black walnuts is Jacob Basecke, Executive Vice President of Hammons Products Company, a fourth-generation family business that has been harvesting, processing, and promoting black walnuts for decades, centered in the Ozarks. We'll dig into what makes black walnuts different from the English walnut, from flavor to nutrition, sustainability to wild harvest tradition. We'll explore how Hammons works with thousands of harvesters in the Midwest, how their crop fits into today's consumer and food service markets, and how you and your customers can make the most of this bold, wild nut. So whether you're a retailer, food service buyer, or a curious consumer, this is one episode you don't want to miss. Jacob, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure. I've been wanting to feature black walnuts since I saw your company exhibiting at some of the produce shows recently. So I'm glad you could do that. We're going to jump into those black walnuts, but first, we always like to learn a little bit about our guests, what their background is. You know, where did you grow up? Tell us something about Jacob.
Yeah, so I've been with the company since roughly about 2014. Okay. So going on 11, 12 years now. And I somewhat grew up in the business, this being a family endeavor. It's something that I had always kind of seen from not too far as a kid and always had I think a genuine interest in the business. Did a few other things after college, and then, certainly just felt a calling that this business is so unique and want to continue it on. We'll be celebrating 80 years as a company next year. So yeah, we started in 1946, and my great-grandfather, Ralph Hammons, started the business here in Stockton, Missouri, is where we're based in.
Okay.
And, I can.
Was I right that that's in the Ozarks? Was I right?
Yep. Yeah. We're right here in Southwest Missouri in the heart of the Ozarks region, which is where more black walnuts are sourced than anywhere else in the world.
Oh, interesting.
But we buy as far out, cover about 12, 13 states across the Midwest and the Upper East region as far as Ohio and Michigan go.
Yeah, got it. Let me, and I want to take you back to, because I did not realize that you were a family member. I
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
thought that was the case, but we love that because, we grew up in the produce business, family
hmm
business. There's
hmm
a lot of people in the produce business that are, multi-generational families running them. So I'm thrilled to hear that. So
Yeah.
Hammons was your great
Yeah.
grandfather's or
Yes.
something?
Yes. Yeah. He was my great grandfather.
Yeah.
And he, just a brief background on him. He owned a grocery store that was located on the town square here in Stockton. Stockton is a small lake town,
Hmm.
just about an hour north of Springfield, Missouri. And he was purchasing black walnuts from a company out east. And this was in Virginia, a company that was shelling black walnuts in Virginia at the
Hmm.
time. And they had a short crop, and there was an abundance of black walnuts in Southwest Missouri. And so he worked out a deal with this company, the shelling company, to source black walnuts here in Missouri, because they were at the time were only sourcing really in the Virginia region, in the far east.
Okay.
And so he put together a buying program to buy from the local people these native wild black walnuts, and ended up shipping those, freighting those out to Virginia. Well, I don't know all the details, but I know that that company did not last much longer than that was in the mid 1940s. And then shortly after that, Ralph thought, there's an opportunity here to do a shelling business here in Southwest Missouri.
Oh,
and
great.
uh, and he and he took a lot of risk. He had a real comfortable, successful business with the his grocery store, and decided to take a gamble and give this a try. And here we are, almost 80 years later. So
That's
it's
fantastic.
really a testament to what he built, and all the people that have built this over the years.
Right.
That first year he bought 100,000 pounds of in-shell black walnuts, and our average crop size now is between 15 and 20 million pounds. So
Wow.
that didn't happen overnight, but that did. He the business and the industry has grown over the decades, and has been a sustainable crop, and we're really proud to carry on that heritage.
Yeah, that's a great story. I want to explore that a little bit more, especially this network of people that you use to harvest for you. But
Yeah.
for listeners who may not be familiar with the black walnut versus the other walnut, is that technically right? An English walnut?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Tell us tell our listeners the differences and a little bit about black walnut versus English.
Yeah, so there's a few key distinct features and differences between the two. They're both obviously under the walnut species, but it is a different variety.
Okay.
These are the American black walnut are native to North America. Pecans and black walnuts are the only native tree nuts that are
Oh,
commercially available. And English walnuts originated uh, back in Persia, in that region,
hmm.
and then were they started planting English walnuts mainly in California, is where those are done
Right.
back decades ago, and now that's a global, very well known global commodity. You've got the orchards mainly in California, like I mentioned, and
Right.
as far as how they're sourced, that's a key distinction. These are not grown in orchards. And we, it's funny, for a long time, we really never focused on the sourcing aspect and that sourcing story of how these are wild, hand harvested. We didn't really focus on that. I'd say up until about 10 years or even less, and really saw how that is an attractive quality
Yeah.
in and what makes black walnuts so different. And so we've really emphasized that heavily in our marketing.
Yeah.
And I think it's paid off, because I think it's so important. That's one thing, is it's so important to educate consumers about the differences. When you see walnuts in the store, whether it's produce or center store or bakery, it says walnuts. Those are most likely English walnuts. Whenever they're black walnuts, they will specifically say black walnuts in them. And I know that that sounds trivial, but it is a really important point, just because, when you talk to people here in the Midwest, they're referring to walnuts. They might be talking about black walnuts.
Yeah.
And even though, you get outside of kind of the Midwest region and you refer to walnuts, well, they're talking about the other variety. So there's kind of those those type of things I think are important to point out. So besides sourcing, you also have the flavor,
Yeah.
which is a core distinct difference. Uh, English walnuts have a pretty light, mild, even bitter taste to them, depending on your palate. Black walnuts, very, very different. We describe more of a bold, earthy, woodsy flavor.
Oh,
That's a lot more complex than the mild English walnut.
interesting.
So you've got flavor sourcing, and then the last component, there are some subtle differences with the nutrition. Um, they both have similar healthy fats. The comparison for your omega 3s and omega 6s.
All right.
But as far as protein, black walnuts have the highest protein of all tree nuts.
Really?
It's roughly about 57% more than regular walnuts, and so that's another emphasis, that we have been promoting and marketing, is the high protein content. It's about
That's
7 grams per serving, and so
wow.
yeah,
What's a serving?
a quarter of a cup, 30
Okay.
grams.
That
Yeah.
is amazing. I did not realize that at all. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
so as you see plant-based proteins in that trend, growing, and that's not going away, from what consumers are really desiring. I think that that's going to bode well, for our efforts to really grow the market, even more than where we are today.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't want to delve too much into the science of it, but why do you think black walnuts have that much higher protein content than other nuts?
Yeah, well, and that is a good question. It is the Juglans nigra, which is the eastern black walnut.
Okay.
And the English walnut, or the Juglans regia, is the Latin name. And so, as far as the differences in protein, yeah, that's something that I have not, explored yet, but I do know
Yeah.
that black walnuts are higher, and
Right.
that's
Well, that's the
that's the
main
most
point.
important
I
part, right?
I just wondered if there was some sort of explanation for it. If you don't
Yeah,
have to, we don't have to say anything about it. But I was just
yeah,
curious if that had been investigated.
yeah.
It's interesting that I wondered about the wild nature of them. Maybe
Uh-huh.
there's and I'm going to get off course here and speculate, and I'll cut this out if, if it doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense. But it just occurred to me that in the wild, you have a network of mushrooms and fungi in
Mhm.
the ground, which they have protein. In an orchard, you probably don't have that. I don't know. Maybe orchards also have that as
No,
well. But
no, you
okay.
you don't have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, no, I think it does. Without diving too deep, I think that it does relate to the wild, the this wild component of black walnuts.
Yeah.
How they're extremely resilient. The tree is very resilient, real hardy root system, deep root system.
Yeah.
And I mean, these black walnut trees have been, in North America growing for thousands of years. And I think over time, I think that resiliency has attributed to, some of the nutritional components of black walnuts.
Right. I didn't send this as a question because it just occurred to me, but how long do black walnut trees live? Do they go
There's
as
some,
long?
yeah, some trees. I don't know the average age. I'm gonna venture it's probably 60 to 80 years. I mean, there's some trees that are well over 100 years old.
Yeah.
As along those lines, I'll tell you that this is one of the challenges of dealing with a wild crop is black walnuts are alternate bearing.
Oh,
And so a typical tree is going to basically have a heavy crop one year and then a light crop the next year.
that's interesting.
And that's where some of those really large mature trees that are, 80 plus years old, they're going to produce every year. The volume's going to vary a little bit, but I've got one tree pretty close to us that is a very large mature tree that just every year consistently produces. And so that also has to do with the soil and how well it drains, and
Yeah.
there's all these components as far as the harvest goes, and we can dive into that. And we're basically finishing up the 2025 crop, and we don't have the totals in yet, but the buy season did officially end last week on the 14th of November. And
Okay.
so we only buy for about 6 weeks. And so we usually start October 1 or right that the first couple days of October, and we'll buy through early to mid-November. And that's a pretty typical cycle as far as
Yeah.
the buy season goes. So it's
Right.
pretty short window, of getting all the coordination and getting the message out, that it's black walnut season, and there's thousands of people involved in this all across the Midwest region. So
Yeah.
it's certainly a unique fall tradition, and
It's
but
fascinating. And so, well, I've got a lot of new questions popping up,
yeah,
Jacob.
yeah.
Anyway, but so I just want to explore this idea about could you grow black walnuts in an orchard? Maybe,
Yeah.
I know you don't want to. It sounds like they're going to be
So
better if they're in the
no,
wild, but
good question. I will. There are, and I should have mentioned this earlier. There's a handful of landowners all across the Midwest, mainly in Missouri, but then other Midwestern states where they grow black walnuts in orchards.
okay.
And we work with those. We buy those.
All right.
We buy a lot of those are improved variety nuts. So we
Mhm.
buy those on a grade and yield basis, just like other orchard grown nuts.
Mhm.
And we certainly see the future supply for black walnuts building and growing in the orchards.
Okay.
Putting yourself in a landowner's perspective, it's obviously a long-term investment. A typical tree, depending on how it's planted, is it going to produce nuts for anywhere from 8 to 12 years?
Yeah.
And so it's certainly something that has to be a labor of love, that they are really passionate about black walnuts and tree nuts. But there's several landowners all across the region, and that have orchards. But as far as the overall supply right now,
Yeah.
it's very small.
Well, I'm sure
Majorities.
I'm sure what's happening here in Western North Carolina is happening in Stockton area, Missouri, Southwest Missouri. The
Hmm.
development is just out of control, and it
Yeah,
seems like every time I go out, there's a new piece of land that's just been cleared of the trees and they're building housing or something.
yeah, yeah.
So it does seem to me that the future might have to go to orchards.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't want to put a damper on it.
yeah. No, yeah. That it's a good observation. I would say that what is good to see, because we see black walnuts, these native trees, yeah, um they're being cut down, or yeah, you see development come in, but there are what's great about it being a native tree is they're always continually being replanted,
Okay.
right? Whether that's by human, people, actual people, or wildlife. And I
Oh,
know
right, right, right.
it sounds funny, but squirrels are very active and are big fans of black walnuts, so they're planting them every single year.
Yeah.
And so I would say that the one important component of just how the whole harvest is arranged is the accessibility of the trees.
Yeah.
People, they're not going way deep into the forest to gather black walnuts. Some might, but I'd say the majority, these are where trees that are in farmland and low river bottom areas. A
Yeah.
lot of, especially here in Missouri, you've got a lot of large groves of native trees along river bottom areas where you have good draining
Right.
uh, for moisture and those trees are easily accessible for
Right.
for folks.
Yeah,
But
there's a walking trail I walk quite often here in my hometown. It runs by a river, and
yeah,
there's black walnut trees there
yeah,
that are, I see the walnuts the falling off at this time of year.
yeah,
But there's also another tree, hickory nut, and as
yeah.
I understand it, the what do you call? Is it a pod? What do you call the thing that encloses that the walnut is enclosed?
So yeah, so it's the husk material
Husk. Okay, yeah,
or hull material.
yeah.
Yeah, and
They're
so
round and green, right?
yes, yep,
And they're about
yep,
the size of a tennis ball, maybe a little
yep.
smaller.
Maybe a little bit smaller. Yep.
And the hickory nut and the black walnut, from what I understand, look very similar.
There are some differences, but yeah,
Yeah.
there are some similarities. I mean, the black walnuts are pretty distinct as far as one thing with the hickory nuts is they those are more of a pod where they open up and then the only thing that falls to the ground are the end shell hickory nuts.
Oh, okay.
You're not getting the entire
Oh,
fruit, the entire whole like black walnuts. Those are
okay.
the entire whole material and husk is on the ground. And it's real simple. Like, we get a lot of questions as far as the harvest goes. People are like, well, do I need to remove the whole and then bring them to a buying station to sell them? It's like, no, all you need to do is gather them still in the husk, and then transport them to a buying station. And then at our hulling stations, and we've got in the range of 200 across 12 states,
Oh,
that hole is removed at the hulling station,
got it.
and then the folks are paid on a per pound basis. So
Yeah. They're
it
hard to open up. I've tried to open
and
them
they're
up.
also messy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they do. They
They
stained my fingers for
they'll
weeks.
stay.
I think
Yeah,
I still have some stain left. I showed it to you at the show.
yeah,
A
yeah,
little bit of
yeah.
that's still there. But well, you've kind of we've talked around it a bit, but take us through this harvest cycle, from the nuts falling, the hulling, the process.
Yeah. The black walnut harvest starts early October. We work with all variety of people, but when
Mhm.
you start from the huller operators, who are the ones who are running the hulling stations, all walks of life.
Yeah.
There's business owners, that might own a feed store or a maybe like a maybe like a mowing service company.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
They have hulling stations, but then also a pretty large segment are the Amish and Mennonite communities.
Oh,
We've got a
yeah,
variety of huller operators, and these are all mainly in small rural communities.
yeah.
And I had the pleasure of this year in the first week of October, I traveled about 2,500 miles across 6 states, and just visiting with our huller operators and seeing the meeting the people and seeing the places and how really truly how the harvest comes together. First time I'd done that, and I'm so glad I did that
Oh,
because
yeah,
it really allowed me to see, just the impact in the community. A lot of the folks that, whether they're hauler operators or just harvesters, you've got a variety of people. You have farmers, families, maybe hobbyists, and
yeah.
they're doing it for. Some are doing it for the additional income. Others are doing it as a fall tradition.
Oh, cool.
they bring their kids or grandkids out, and it's a fall family activity to get outside, enjoy the outdoors, and do something together. So
Yeah.
eh, it's really interesting to see just all the different faces of the harvest. And it's people that have been doing it for a long time. Others are just getting started. We came across several people that this is their first year to do it, and
Yeah.
maybe they moved in from outside of the Midwest, and are and what's great is they can bring in. We have some people that will bring in 20, 30,000 pounds, which is a lot of black walnuts. There's other
Yeah.
people that maybe they have just a couple 5-gallon buckets. I mean, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
There's no, whether it's buckets or truckloads.
Yeah.
It all comes in. And so there's a lot of factors as far as getting a good crop. You've got we really keep an eye on the precipitation during the early part of the year, really through January through the spring,
Yeah.
and keep an eye on that. We've had a couple very dry conditions over the last few years. We did
Mm.
have some pretty good spring rains here, particularly in Missouri. This year, you've got that. You've got then the weather conditions during the harvest buy season.
Right.
If it's cold and rainy, it's going to be difficult to get people out and participate. So
Yeah.
luckily, fortunately, we've had some really favorable weather these last few years during the month of October. But that's always a big factor, that all these
Right.
things obviously we can't control.
Yeah.
And you hope and pray that it all works out. Our crop size has really fluctuated, and it's a very typical pattern where we'll buy a big crop, and then the next year it's probably going to be a light crop, and
Okay.
that has worked out pretty well, as far as us managing our inventories. Our record crop was 49 million pounds,
Hmm.
but that was way back in 1998.
Oh,
And so it always seems to average out between 15 and 20 million. But we've had crops as low as 4 million. So it's
wow.
pretty
That's a lot.
pretty wide range.
Definitely.
But it
Yeah.
again, it's something that, yeah, we've got a full procurement team that assesses the crop throughout the spring and summer months, and they're deciding, okay, maybe this area in northern Indiana has a good crop. All right, we're gonna really focus up there, and put some resources, add maybe a few other locations. But again, year after year, that really varies.
Yeah.
So
That's
this
quite
year,
a
yeah.
quite a kind of a puzzle for you to work out. It sounds like, but
Yeah, sure,
that's
certainly is.
fascinating. That I love this community aspect you were talking about, of the people that gather them, and that just paints a great picture. I love that.
How
Um,
much does
Absolutely.
the market value change?
Yeah, as far as the like the at the harvest level.
Yes,
Um,
as far as supply and demand, I mean, in a short year, do they double in price or?
no, it's not really those widest swings. We're yeah, as the main buyer and supplier, we set those prices, and those it'll really vary over the last 10 years. It's fluctuated basically between $12 and $20 per 100 pound, and from the harvest level.
yeah.
And so
Does that include the husk, you mean? When,
no, that's after the husk is removed. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's
And so,
another shell to break open once you get that husk off, right?
yeah, yeah. So,
And that
so,
one is tough to get open. I
so,
could I was
uh,
unable to open the ones I was making.
so that kind of goes back to and this is getting in the weeds, but just to highlight this real quick, the holes removed, the nuts, the in-shell nuts, are very wet. And so we've got to properly get those dried before
Oh,
they're processed and shelled. And so they're either transported in bulk or they're put in our bag program, which are about 50-pound burlap sacks. And those are then after they're at the hulling stations, then they come to our central facility here in Stockton, where the nuts are cured and dried.
okay.
And till about you get about a 4.5% moisture content is kind of what we shoot for. That's our target. Once they hit that, then they're ready to be cracked. And so we just
Interesting.
started processing the new crop about 2 weeks ago. So some of the early crop that came in, once those were dried and cured, now they're ready to be processed. And we'll process basically now through May or June. And that's a pretty typical cycle.
Oh, well,
And
that's
then,
quite a while.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not that we'll be processing and shelling, only for a couple weeks or a couple months. We extend that out, and where
Yeah.
we're shelling and processing for anywhere from 6 to 8, 9 months.
Wow. Teresa's got a question, I think.
Yeah.
Is the drying process heat drying, or is it
No.
just
Yeah.
air drying?
Yeah. So they're just air dried. We implemented a bulk bin system where we've got a capacity to store um, roughly 10 million pounds in our bulk system. But what we have found out that the most effective and the traditional way of drying is just outside. We've got these large steel barns that just have covered roofs and all open air on the sides, and we just naturally let them dry. That's by far the best way to dry them,
Interesting.
is just out naturally outside.
Do you store them for long periods of time in like a cooler or a freezer?
Yeah, so as far as the end shell goes, those are stored outside, and then once they come through the plant and are processed and shelled, they're sized, uh, and then they're boxed up. Then they're stored in cold storage. And that has to do. It's really common in the tree nut industry is to store finished goods in cold storage because of, especially walnuts, black walnuts, pecans. They have a high fat content, your healthy fats, and so to keep them fresh, you do want to store them in cold storage. They're they're not merchandised in cold or refrigeration. If you go to the store, you're not going to see nuts in the refrigeration section. So they're merchandised dry. But what I tell everybody is, as soon as you buy a bag, I put mine in a glass jar with a lid, and I put it in the refrigerator, and they stay fresh and are delicious for many, many months.
Yeah.
So that's how we suggest as far as storing.
What about in the freezer? I've kept walnuts in the
Sure.
freezer. Is
Yeah.
that better or worse or about the same?
No, it's about the same. It'll most likely keep them a little bit longer as far as the shelf life goes, extend it a little bit. But it won't hurt them to put them in the freezer. A lot of people certainly do
Yeah.
that if they're buying larger quantities. Yeah.
And not better in a glass jar than in the bag you buy them in?
That's just what I do.
Yeah.
Just because once that bag is open, air can get in there.
Oh,
And
right.
so whether it's
Still off.
any type of container that does have a sealed top or lid, I think is preferable.
Right. Is there a Black Walnut Festival? I bet there is.
There is. Yeah, it's the last week of September every year.
Oh,
The Black Walnut Festival here in Stockton. It really is. It's a celebration to kick off the harvest.
okay.
It's been going around. I think it's been going on for 65 years, so it's
Wow.
been around a long time, and it's a great community event. They've got all kinds of activities, and of course a bunch of black walnut items, as you would probably assume.
Right.
But it's a great event. I know that there's some other black walnut festivals. I think there's one. I think might be one in North Carolina,
Oh,
actually.
really? Yeah, I'll have to
Yeah,
look that
or
up.
I know that there's one. There's one in Ohio. There's one in, I think, Virginia or West Virginia. I think West Virginia.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a few of them around.
Right. Yeah, I would think that'd be a great festival to attend. The area here in North Carolina that we grew up in is a big apple growing area. You don't
Hmm.
typically think of North Carolina as big, but North Carolina is the seventh largest apple producing state. And the
Interesting.
county that we grew up in is the largest producer by far in the state. So there's a big apple festival here every Labor Day,
Hmm.
and it
Hmm.
draws thousands and thousands of people. So I would love to
Yeah.
come to the Black Walnut Festival.
Well, you all are invited. Absolutely. We that is the only time of the year that we provide public tours of our facility, of our plant,
Okay.
and people really enjoy that, and it gives us an opportunity to meet people. There's people from all over the country that come in. Um, we we had some folks from Canada here just in this year's festival. We've met some people from Alaska, so
Ah,
you get people from all over.
right.
Is
So
there
the
one, is there one black walnut food that gets served as like the most popular black walnut food?
big question.
Yeah, as far as the type of recipes, um, obviously there's all kinds of ways you can use them. Um, Someone that's just getting started, thinking like, what should I be? What should how should I use these? And I would recommend like a banana bread, like a sweet bread
Oh,
is a
yeah.
really good, easy way to use them. You can They're really good in oatmeal cookies, a black walnut oatmeal cookie.
Um,
You've got there's a variety of cakes that are available on our website. And you can find these all online too, just
okay.
by Googling black walnut recipes. A traditional black walnut pie, kind of like a pecan pie, but classic black walnut pie is a really popular one, especially this time of year. Right around Thanksgiving, is that's
Right.
always a must. We'll definitely have that one on our dinner table next week.
Yeah. I imagine the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, are some of the biggest times of the year for you for sales, correct? Or
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
Third and fourth quarter and that goes in line with baking holiday season.
Yeah, makes sense.
Um,
Yeah.
with black walnuts mainly used as an ingredient. You've got baking, and then ice cream is another one.
Oh, yeah.
That's Ice cream is roughly 30 to 40% of our total volume
Really?
is shipped for ice cream, and that's specifically black walnut ice cream.
Yeah, I've had
And
that before. It's great.
yeah, it's a classic flavor that is popular all over, but it has some strong ties to the Midwest and to the South and Southeast
Mm,
region.
yeah.
North Carolina, yeah, you can definitely find black walnut ice cream under a variety of brands.
Right.
So
Yeah, that was
it's
one of my favorite growing up. I haven't had it in a while. I got to look for it.
yeah, yeah.
One thing, my girlfriend in high school they were from Vermont. So their favorite dessert to serve was just vanilla ice cream with regular walnuts
Mhm.
and maple syrup from Vermont on top. That is great.
Yeah.
I bet you that would be good. Even better with black walnuts.
Oh, you know it. Yeah. Well, and that's what black walnuts add is they add some like depth and character
Yeah.
in whatever dish you're making, whether it's ice cream or whether it's a baked good or even savory.
Yeah, I was going to ask about this.
They kind of add a complexity, a depth where you get that flavor throughout the whole item, and not just say if you're biting on a nut.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really makes black walnuts different than say regular walnuts or pecans or some other nuts that might have a mild lighter flavor.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
that's
the way
where
you
chefs.
described it at the beginning, I'm thinking, oh, no, we're talking about fine wine here. This has
Yeah.
got a complexity and all these the same flavors in a great red wine. I was thinking.
Well, you've got these aromatic notes of like woodsy and mushroomy
Yeah,
umami even. We
right.
hear that a lot.
Yeah, with the oil
That
content, that would be.
that's where I think chefs, and there's been some, I mean, really high profile chefs, and these award winning culinary experts that they absolutely love black walnuts. They're like, this is the most unique thing I've ever had. It is the star ingredient in this dish,
Yeah,
and that's obviously music to our ears hearing that. And so
right.
that's the natural flavor of black walnuts. We're not adding anything. We're not salting, roasting.
No
That is
GMO, Jason, Jacob? What do you
that's
mean?
right. Yeah. We're not adding anything to them. That is just the natural flavor profile. So
Right.
we're not, we're sourcing them and providing a market. We're not enhancing or adding anything to.
Yeah.
We're just kind of letting them do,
Right. Well, let me go down this road then. It just occurred to me. A lot of nuts out there. The nut companies are putting all these different kinds of spices on them and flavorings. Are you guys getting into that at all? You don't need to, it doesn't sound like, but
yeah, we've our core market, again, in the ingredient space, we have focused on the natural flavor of black walnuts.
yeah.
However, over the years we've developed, you've got caramelized, which are honey glazed black
Oh,
walnuts. They had a
yeah.
nice sweet crunch. You've got chocolate coated. We've done
Mm,
some things there. We've explored other flavors like maple and all these, whether they're sweet or savory enhancements. But we're really, we rely on companies to go out and explore that and develop that. And
yeah.
so, as far as some new innovation, I would say, um, we just, to get into, expanding beyond the ingredient space and getting into the snack market, we have recently, we developed a trail mix product
Oh,
called under a new brand called Hike, to
cool.
really connect with outdoor enthusiasts and people that are interested in clean, simple, nutritious ingredients. And so we've rolled out a series of trail mix products, and I'd say in the future we'd like to expand that beyond just trail mix and looking at other snack
Yeah.
products like bars and protein enhancements and things like that.
Yeah,
So
that'd be great. You were able to get the brand name Hike spelled the normal way, or did you have to
yeah,
spell it a
yeah.
different way? That's
No,
amazing.
Hike. Yeah,
Okay, we'll look for
that's right.
that. And can you give us what are some of the things in the trail mix that you mix it with?
So we've got three flavors of our hike trail mix. One is a basic mix called Hunter Gatherer,
Mm. That's
and
good.
we've got one called Maple Mountain, another one called Trail Magic. All of them a little bit different, but all of them have um, almonds, cashews, of course, black walnuts, some dried cherries, dried
Mm.
blueberries, some organic dark chocolate, or you get the maple one has some organic maple in it. So
Cool.
all a little different, but all using uh, premium ingredients and nothing that's enhanced or added or
Yeah.
artificial flavors or colors or anything like that. That was an important piece
Yeah.
of us putting that together, is having it as natural as possible.
Yeah. Good for you. Now, you've mentioned your website and you said that there are some recipes there.
Oh
Can
yeah.
you give your website for our listeners? What's the address?
Yeah, black-walnuts.com
Okay.
is our website, where we've got hundreds of recipes and information on nutrition and sourcing and
So if someone wanted to harvest for you, they
yeah,
could go through that website and check it out.
absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of information there. They can of course, call us, which is available on the website. Our
Okay.
consumer website is hammonspantry.com,
Oh, okay.
which is our direct-to-consumer platform where people can order direct
Yeah, that was my
from
next
us.
question. My next
Yeah,
question, can I order hike from there?
absolutely. Yeah, you can
Good,
order
good, good.
hike,
I'm
or
going to get some of that.
you can order black walnut fudge, or you can order
Ooh,
black walnut banana bread, or just, of
man.
course, our anything you can think of black walnut related is probably on that website.
I don't, can you ship black walnut ice cream?
Oh, you know what? You got me there. We need
It's possible. It'd be
we
expensive.
we have kind of we've toyed around with that idea. I'm not sure if we'll venture into that. We'll let the ice cream makers
Yeah,
handle that one.
that's a lot of loss there. Rick's got a question there.
I'm curious, are you able to label your black walnuts organic?
So a good question. We get that all the time. And as far as getting them certified organic, there are certain FDA requirements that you have to map out a certain given area, and you have to test the soil for 3 years. There's a process to do that. And with our that I described earlier, our wild harvest, there are folks that they're sourcing black walnuts from this farm, and then they're going up the road, and they're going to this farm, and then they're going up the road. They're going to all these different areas.
Mm-hmm.
And so as far as getting them certified organic with our current program, they're not certified organic. But what I will say is, when you really kind of step back and think about how unique this harvest is and just how truly sustainable it is, this is more organic than probably organic, but
Yeah.
but getting them certified is a different thing. So that's where it's going to be important for us going forward. And what we've been doing recently is really emphasizing what wild means, and the value of wild. Because somebody a a sustainability expert that is involved in a lot of organizations said that they describe black walnuts, the way they're sourced, as this is organic on steroids. And it's like, well, you're right. How do we market that to consumers is a different
Yeah.
question. But
You got to be careful.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we have we've explored the organic route, and I wish there was a way that we could tie this in with the organic program. But as far as packaging goes, it's something that is not allowed right now.
Sounds pretty complex. Rick, you had another question? Just jump in.
Just following up on that. So do you have any food safety or pest issues at all?
So what we do is all the loads that come in are inspected. We've got a full QA team on hand, and all the product is inspected. As far as food safety goes, once the black walnuts are shelled, sized, and go through our shelling plant, then they go through our sterilization system, our pasteurization system. We just invested in a new piece of equipment this summer, and it's called NeoPure. It's an organic processing aid that eliminates any potential pathogens, whether that's Salmonella, Listeria, E. coli, mold, yeast, all those. And we use a third-party lab that tests all of our lots that go through the plant to verify that the product is safe and free of any of those pathogens. So, that's a really important step. We're an SQF certified facility, have been for going on about 15 years. And
Can
so
you
we have
explain that SQF for our listeners?
Yeah, safe quality foods.
Okay.
SQF is a very common certification body where a third party food safety audit is conducted on an annual basis.
It's third party. It's not your own people
absolutely
signing
yeah.
off on it.
Yep. with no question, that's a very important part of our overall program, is providing a safe quality food product that's only going to ramp up, what we feel like. And so we've got a team that stays on top of a lot of those things, government regulation, and really making sure that we're not missing anything. So we've got a lot of confidence in what they're doing. And when you really look at the true impact of what we're doing here, we're providing a market for these wild black walnuts, that if we weren't doing what we're doing, there would not be an opportunity for people to gather and sell those. And so there's been tens of millions of dollars that have gone back into these Midwestern rural communities, over just the past decade. And so for us, it's a privilege to do what we're doing. It's also a responsibility. A lot of these folks, they rely on this being part of what they do and some of the money that they earn during the fall season. We're just really blessed to be able to continue to do this year in and year out, is how we approach it.
Right. And the squirrels can't eat them all.
That's right. Yeah.
Save some for us, squirrels. Well, those squirrels must have some strong teeth to break.
Oh my gosh,
it's
incredible! Yeah,
how can a squirrel even get in this? But anyway,
well, are walnut trees similar to oak trees in that a squirrel has to take it and bury it, and then it has to grow from a seed?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But can people just take them and plant them themselves, or does
absolutely? Sure. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. A lot of people do that. I mean, they're, as far what they provide. I mean, they're extremely hardy trees with ample shade. I mean, they're beautiful trees whenever they leaf out in the summer and provide really good shade. And
do they flower? Is it a flower before it becomes a nut? How does that?
Yeah. So they're pollinated. They're pollinated in late April, early May. And that you won't actually physically see them really sprout and flower out, but they do leaf out, and you can start to see little tiny nuts early in like June, late May, early June. You can really start to see and try to get an indication of what the crop's going to look like. As far as our procurement team and knowing where we need to focus on, what areas, what states, they're really looking at that hard in June, July, August, because starting September, that it's really like, okay, we've got this is what we're working with, these are the areas we're going to be focusing on, and so a lot of that work is done during the early to midsummer time period. So like this year, for example, we didn't see a great crop in Missouri, but we saw some really good crops in Ohio, Indiana, Southern Michigan, Kentucky, parts of Kentucky. There was a pretty good crop over in those states, and we could recognize that immediately early on. Every year's different. Once harvest season kicks in, it's like, all right, here we go. We've done all the groundwork, and let's pray and hope for the best.
Right. You told me at the show that you're not sourcing from North Carolina. There's a lot of them here. Come on.
I know. Well, we used to have a buying station in Western North Carolina back probably 6-7 years ago. We need to consider coming back in there. We used to have stations far east in Pennsylvania and Virginia and West Virginia, but the challenge for that is the freight costs, freighting those all the way back to here in Southwest Missouri. There's still, I think, some opportunities for us to get back into those states. But you got to justify, like, okay, what can you really get out of these areas? If we can get a substantial volume, then it would probably make sense. And so
if I wanted to harvest just a few for fun, what's my closest station? From say Asheville, North Carolina?
Oh, probably one of our Tennessee locations.
Okay, so you have some in Tennessee.
They're mainly in like Middle Tennessee or Western Tennessee. So it's still going to be a hike
drive
for you. Maybe, yeah.
Well, it would be for fun, not for profit. But I see
Yeah.
them when I'm on these walks, and I'm going, man, I should be gathering these up. But anyway, well, listen, this has been a lot of fun. We're going to let you go because we're over our hour that I allotted for you. I'm sure
Yeah.
you've got it's a busy, busy time for you.
Well,
Well, let me just say, put this out there. Do you have anything else you want to tell our listeners about black walnuts before we sign off?
yeah, I mean, what I'd say is, every year there's thousands of people to help bring in this wild American crop. It's a rare, authentic, really deeply tied to the community. So seeing consumers rediscover black walnuts and watching chefs and brands innovate with them, it really reminds us, that we're stewards of something truly unique.
Yeah.
So there's nothing else like it in the world. And so we're excited to kind of see where the future leads. And we just encourage folks that, especially that haven't tried black walnuts, give them a try. And
Absolutely.
there's all kinds of ways you can use them. So we're
check out that website, black-walnut.com.
That's
and
right.
Hammondspantry.com, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
Yep.
Look
Yeah.
up that up. Okay, we're going to let you go. But wait a minute.
Grocery store and find black walnuts, or
Yeah. So you can find black walnuts in a lot of the conventional grocery stores, especially this time of year. They'll either be in the produce section under our Hammons brand or other brands. You can also find them in the center store baking aisle, and whether it's private label or one of the other major nut companies, they should be readily available, especially during the holiday season. Now there's all kinds of online ways of getting them online, whether it's the Amazons or nuts.com or some of these other websites. It doesn't really matter how, whether it's under our brand or another brand, it's all good. We're just looking to grow the consumption of black walnuts. So
yeah. Fantastic. Well said. Thank you, Jacob. We're going to let you go, but there's one thing you have to do before you leave.
All right.
And I didn't tell you about it because I knew if I told you about this, you wouldn't come on. But we have a ritual here at the Produce Buzzers podcast, and we make our guests go through it. And I hate to tell you, Jacob, but it's painful. It's very painful.
Okay.
So here's the deal. Teresa loves puns. And every episode she brings a pun to tell us in the show, and we punish our guests with these puns. That's why it's painful, and they're always really bad, so it's very painful. So sorry to put you through this, but here's another thing. They're usually in the form of a question. So Teresa asks, she sets the pun up with a story, and then she asks a question, and we try to guess what the punny answer is.
Okay. All right.
So get your thinking cap on. We call this segment, by the way, homegrown.
All right, I'm ready.
It's already bad, huh? Okay. All right, Teresa, what is the homegrown of the day?
Well, a famous British baker came to the U.S. He was quite flamboyant, bright red hair, big guy, loved to bake. He decided that he was going to experiment with all kinds of breads, and he discovered the black walnut, and he was making a banana bread with black walnuts and all kinds of breads. And over time, he earned a nickname. What do you think his nickname was?
Okay, let's give us time to think. I'll try to repeat this. This flamboyant British baker with bright red hair and dressed all kinds of clothes with wild clothes. Did he have a big red beard too? I just imagine him with a big red beard.
Yeah, he did. Okay. I kind of left that out.
And he comes to America and he discovers these fantastic black walnuts, nothing like his English walnuts. So he starts baking with them and he earns a nickname. What is
the
his
nickname? The boldest nut in the bunch.
That's pretty good. Oh, me. Oh, I can't. The black nut? No, that's not it.
Yeah. Oh, there's all kinds of we could go in all kinds of directions here.
Come on, Rick. Rick's usually pretty good at these.
Oh, well, you really are stumping me on this one. I guess if somebody's a wallflower, they could be a walnut, but
Oh, well, that doesn't fit the pun. We should do another pun with that one at a different time. Okay, do we give up?
I think we're stumped.
yeah.
Okay, Teresa.
Well, this flamboyant, red-headed bread baker from England was nicknamed the Gingerbread Man.
Oh, gingerbread. Okay.
The British people call their redheads gingers.
Gingers.
Oh,
It had
How does that
nothing to do with
like
walnuts.
I know we were
That's
going the
all right.
black walnut route, but that's okay. That's good.
You threw us off with that. It was like a clear.
Was he kind of
Okay.
was he kind of a husky guy?
Yeah, there you go. I like
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
oh. Ooh.
All right.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate
Thank
your
you,
time.
Jacob. I appreciate
Jacob.
you sitting through that torture and all the fantastic information. This has really been interesting. So thanks.
Well, let me know if you need anything else.
I will. All right, sir.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Thank you.
Edwin.
Take
Take
care.
care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you, listeners, for tuning in to the Produce Buzzers podcast, brought to you by Produce Buzz, the gathering place for lovers of fresh fruits and veggies. We hope you were entertained a bit and educated a lot about fresh produce. Be sure to join us next time, and please tell your friends to do so as well. Like, share, and comment on our Produce Buzz Facebook page, and check out our website at www.producebuzz.com. There you will find articles about fresh fruits and veggies, how to select, store, and prepare them, as well as lots of interesting facts about all the wonderful bounty the earth provides for us. Until next time, be fruitful and don't forget to veg out.